What is going on, guys? Big Al is here, and today I wanted to showcase and talk about House of Necrosis. So I was invited to play the second playtest of the game so far, and I just want to give a huge shout out to Workus. He is the developer of the game, and honestly, it is a ton of fun. This game is crazy. This game gives you that classic Resident Evil nightmare-ish. It just brings you back to PlayStation 1, right? Incredible game. It's actually incredible. It's like Mystery Dungeon meets Resident Evil. And like adding like some Parasite Eve with the abilities and just the different items that you get, and it brings everything together in this really fun Mystery Dungeon, really horror-like game. So I have covered this game before. I made a gameplay video kind of style thing a couple months back, and now I'm checking it out again because they added more areas, they added more things, different monsters, different bosses, and just different, I don't even know, different everything. So we have a ton of more abilities to work with, and even the new areas and the new bosses are really, really interesting. So let's talk about it. And if you're new here, I cover tactics games, turn-based games. This is pretty much a turn-based style game since it's Mystery Dungeon, turns happen. And if you guys like that type of thing, make sure you guys like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more turn-based and tactics games. So let's get into the game. So House of Necrosis, you pretty much start off as like a member of STARS, pretty much, like a special forces unit, and you're in the mansion. And each thing is you're pretty much trying to solve and get keys to different areas to pretty much the keys pretty much just unlock the next area or the previous area that you were in. Instead of having to start at the first area, like the main mansion, you gotta either start off at like what is it called? Like the green area, like the greenhouse, not the greenhouse, the vineyard, like the garden, the garden area, which I think is honestly like one of the scariest portions. And then there's like a later stage, the third stage, which I couldn't even beat. That's how hard it was. And it's like an underground facility. And every single time you beat one of the major bosses and you go through those facilities, you see it becomes like tank controls, and you can interact with like a dead corpse where you like pick up a key off them. Then there's like the chest that you can store your equipment or retrieve it. And it really is like that Resident Evil flow where I just love how it switches to tank controls. I think that's really neat. And then it goes to like turn-based style. Really fun. So let's talk about it. I want to walk you guys through every single section that I've played so far. It's been 3 sections, all really difficult. And I was even stuck on the second garden section, as you just heard me rambling. So let's talk about the first section. The first section is the normal house section. So you're going to be running through there, really checking out like the house area. And you're going to be fighting pretty much just your normal Resident Evil style monsters like zombies, crawlers, crows, and dogs. And after you finish euthanizing all of these animals and individual dead people, you fight off against the big bad G-Virus looking guy, pretty much Sam Sulek, who is the first boss of this run. After you defeat him, you usually get like a ton of different items, and then you go on to the next thing, and it's like, oh, you're at the gate of a garden, and then you see a dead corpse right there, and it's the whole shit-bang, whatever, right? You pick up the key, you go on to the next zone, and the next zone is the garden. This zone was completely new, so I really want to focus in on it and really start talking about it. This garden will beat your ass. Let me tell you something. This garden does not hold any punches. The enemies here will poison you. You're pretty much fighting anything. You're fighting salads pretty much for half the time. Salads, snakes. And then after you progress a little bit further, you start fighting the tree ents, like it's Lord of the Rings. We're trying to get through Mordor, and you have these tree ents who are knocking you back. You have a guy called the Trapper who's slapping you with a bag. And then we have these Dead Space enemies who just release noxious gas around you, and they poison you. Pretty much everything here will poison you, and then you have these super mummies who also poison you. But the thing with the mummies is you could take an extra step, like they take 2 turns to act. Make sure they just don't grab you. And you know, it's like it's cool, but it's like it's really tough. And I noticed sometimes some of these enemies, they'll get buffed, and then they'll just hit me for like 100 something damage, 300 damage, and then they'll just kill me. Also, I forgot to mention, in the original mansion area, there are lickers and some other like jumping type monster. The lickers are really interesting because they like lick a tongue, you know, whatever nonsense. But back to the garden. And so just sticking with those enemies, they beat your ass. And you need to really prioritize blue herbs, and which is something I didn't really prioritize, and just healing. It really comes down to how much can you heal, how much can you prevent yourself from getting poisoned, and then it ultimately leads you to the boss fight. Now, this boss fight looks like a Gorgon's gonads, okay? It is some plant thing that, like, creates spikes, like vine spikes, vine type shit, okay? And it's challenging, but it's pretty easy. It doesn't move around. You could bring it forward to you, and you know, it does whatever. You can confuse it, and it either just summons more vine shit, or it summons little salads that come after you. Those, they're whatever. They're annoying. They do a lot of damage, but you can take care of them pretty easily. It's like 1 or 2 hits, they're done. And after that, you get some decent stuff, and then you go on to the next area. Now, this area, this is like the steel reinforced area. You know, when you get into Resident Evil, after you get past, like, oh yeah, like this isn't just like a survival horror like normal zombies. You're fighting hands now. You're fighting blobs of slime and just shit, like literal just virus slime. And these things are just beating your ass. I'm sorry, I didn't have the wherewithal to stand and battle through hands like from the Shadow Temple in Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time, where Link has to have you need the eyeglass thing, the mirror, the magnifying glass. You know what I'm talking about if you played the game. I forgot what it was even called, god damn it. But they kind of just come down, they beat your ass and they jack your shit, and then they just dip out. Now, let me tell you, I enjoyed this to the fullest. This game, you need to play this game. When it comes out, you need to play it. It is incredible. And I'm really curious about, are they going to have new classes? Are they going to have different characters? So right now, you kind of just play as Jill Valentine, cousin, look-alike. But there are a lot of mechanics that are really, really interesting to play with. And so, let's talk about it now. They have the spell system, and I think these spell systems are really, really interesting. The one caveat I'm kind of like griping about is I don't know how many charges I have. It's pretty much just like you use the spell once and it's done, but I wish there was like you have like 3 charges on cure, or like this bleed like a lash, and it's like, it has like 1 charge because it's really strong. Things like that. I wish there was like more charges to it. And also like getting those spells, they're kind of just like grimmers that you pick up, and you get them from enemies, and it's not really anything too crazy, but I do wish there was like some like upgrade to them rather than just like, you find them and then like that's kind of it. But I will say there's a lot more spells now, and it's pretty fun to play around with. And I really love the warp spell. I just like dipping out and like, I'm done with this. So let's talk about the next thing, because I just talked about the items. I mean, I talked about the spells. Let's talk about the items now. The items are vast. You have like boxes that kind of just, could be anything from like more coins, more herbs, and they all could be trapped, anything like that, and they will do damage to you, or they'll give you an item. There are serums that can do a wide number of things, between healing you, confusing the enemy, who even knows. And then there's like hexes, like a push hex. The vampiric hex will heal you if you throw it at an enemy. And it's really interesting to play around with everything like that. And now let's talk about the weapons. So, which is also just another set of, items. So you have the main weapons that you have are like shotguns, clubs, pistols, and assault rifles and things like that. But they also added, the main things that they added, are the shotguns, like the blunderbuss, rifles, and things like that. So it really is a major upgrade in what they added, and I really love that. Same thing with the weapons. It's not just like a knife anymore or a sword. They have like clubs, hammers, switchblades that are like really like crit heavy, and they all have like these status effects or these bonuses to them depending on the rarity. And again, they could range from like, you have a higher crit chance, you do more crit damage, you heal on kills, or you get less experience, or you get more experience, you do XYZ. And again, there's so much variety in it. It really, really is a ton of fun, and it kind of just can tackle it however you want. But I did notice that there is some difficulty, and the RNG isn't really that forgiving, especially when it comes to the enemies and how they react to you and how much damage they could just do from getting buffed. And it's kind of hard to play around with that, especially when you're in the garden area. I feel like those enemies they're so status effect heavy. It really like made me not like changed my play style, but rework how I play and how I approach that section. Overall though, ton of fun. I would absolutely let you guys know to like wishlist it, check it out. Again, the dev is great, and I'm really looking forward to seeing how this one plays out. So if you guys like that, if you guys liked, you know, my little playtest review, make sure you guys like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.